Alright, I want to talk about three major problems that have been plaguing the video game industry as of late. It's gonna be aimed toward the live service games, but honestly, every fucking game is a live service game today, whether you like it or not. I personally don't mind it. I do like the idea of being in a game for the long haul for 5 to 10 years. That's all fine and dandy, but here's the problem. Those games never remain what the original vision of them was. Therefore, we come to the first problem I'm going to talk about, and that is the new developers changing old games to try to attract new players in a notion that new players are somehow going to keep this game going, when in my opinion, that is incorrect. So, here's what happens. The old developers, they come up with a game, they make the soul of the game, the essence of what it should be, how it should play, and these are the people that were the most invested into this title. They release this title, they support it for a year or so, they get bored or they get changed, they get put into other studios, they change careers, whatever the fuck, and then you get new developers who were not a part of this original vision of the game, who were not a part of creating the essence of it, and who honestly don't love this game as much as the people who made it, right? So they're put there onto important positions like creative designer, balance designer, map designer, new content creator, whoever the fuck. And in most games, I've been noticing a trend that the only thing these new developers fucking do is change the characters or items or maps, depending on what games you're playing, to new things, because that's their idea of new content, that's their idea of keeping things fresh. Now, I do agree to a degree, changing things is important in life. I think variety is the spice of life. But what these developers, or most of them, are doing is changing the core fundamentals of characters and gameplay flow in a game that they expect you to play for 5 to 10 years. And then when you think why they're doing this, always comes up an excuse. They're doing this because we need new players. They're the saviors of the game, right? I'm here to tell you the new players don't give a fuck about the games that have been going on for 5 to 10 years, unless they're gigantic games, for example like Counter-Strike Global Offensive and Dota. But honestly, Valve games are its own giant. I'm just gonna have to ignore them because they're so largely successful. But one thing I will mention, the reason they're so largely successful is because the essence of Counter-Strike and the essence of Dota has never been changed. Now let's compare that to the games that the essence was changed, and those games being fucking dead now because of this reason of new developers changing everything. The first game I'm going to touch about is Smite. It is a 5-5 MOBA. It's the worst of the MOBAs. Basically, it has the least amount of player bases, but it had some unique things to it. Was the reason why I've played it, and I still play it, is because it was a third-person MOBA, and because it featured gods from the mythology I've been listening since I was a kid about Hercules, Zeus, and whoever's, right? And it was always attractive to me. Nearly every character in that game today, after 10 years, have been completely changed, which is nothing reminiscent of what you have been playing there, again for the sake of new players. But when you look at the current player base of the game, as you can see right now on the screen, the game barely has like 10,000 fucking people on a good day. It has no crossplay, it has input matchmaking, so even if you wanted to play with the console people, you can't do it because you have a fucking keyboard. So you're playing with the same 10,000 people, right? They nowhere promote new player experience. Nowhere is the game ever explained to new players in any meaningful way. So you queue for a match if you're not playing against a pre-made already, because the people have found friends in this fucking game over the 10 years they've been playing it, and you get a new player in your lobby who just doesn't know how to play the game, and the poor guy, it's not his fault, he doesn't know how to play the game, but he's essentially ruining your match, right? He doesn't know how to play. The game has been going on for 10 years. I personally don't know that a decision a new person would make of being, hey, look at this game, it's been running for 10 years. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to download that and try playing that. The notion of that is just bizarre to me. But a person made a decision. He hopped onto Smite. And he's ruining a match by being there, because no matter what you do, no matter how well you play in these team play games like Smite, you will lose the game. You will lose the game. And while losing and winning is obviously not relevant at all in this discussion, the fact is that you sit there for 20 minutes with a new player who has no idea how to play, and you're most likely playing against 5 people who know how to play, or are in a stack, and you just have a miserable fucking experience. And then you go onto their website and they're saying how, oh, you know, we want Smite to keep going for another 10 years or so. And this is what they're doing, yeah? So your characters are not as fun as they used to be. You always feel like you've played a better version of them, and you always feel like the game just had more in the past. And that's because it fucking did. That's an example of Smite and how a new player would just hurt the actual player base. Because a new player would download that game, he will get into this fucking match, he will have a miserable experience, and he will quit. And with him, he will also put a miserable experience on the people who have been playing the game for a while, and then they will also take a break or quit or whatever, and suddenly a new player has eradicated 2 or 3 people from his team out of the game. They're not going to be playing the game for 2 weeks. Yeah? I'm saying that games like Smite should cater towards the people that are playing, not towards new players. Because there's not going to be any new players playing this fucking game. So that would be the first reason why I think there's a problem in video game. The second reason would be, I think I already mentioned in the little Smite discussion, that is pre-made. Right? So every developer in competitive PvP games, competitive quotation mark, tells you we always aim to have a competitive spirit. We want fair games and stuff. That will be your Smite, your Overwatches, your any of these games, right? But then they fucking put you as a solo queue where against a pre-made where it's not fair at all. You're fighting pre-mades or you're fighting fucking smurfs who are just abusing friends on alt accounts who on purpose have lower rank or higher rank, whichever that they should have, and you're now in a game with them, and it's completely ruining your fucking experience. And this thing is mostly happening in these live service games that I've been talking about the whole fucking video, right?